You're locked into the Liberty Flames podcast, powered by Rogers Heating and Cooling, servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Schedule your service today at callrogers.com.
The Liberty Flames mobile app is a must-have for game days. When you download the app, your access to Flames Nation is in the palm of your hand. Listen to our live Liberty Flames Sports Network audio broadcast. Click the Media tab, and under Audio, find the live broadcast in progress. Football, basketball, baseball, coaches shows, all right here. Purchase and manage tickets to the next Flames home game. Click the Tickets tab. Select Purchase Tickets. Then you have the ability to buy seats to the next game. Download those tickets directly to your device and scan them at the gate. Or select Manage Tickets to download your previously purchased tickets or parking pass. Transfer or sell your tickets easily through the Manage Tickets button. Download the Liberty Flames mobile app today from your App Store or Google Play.
Welcome to the NAZSCAR Podcast with Nick Pierce. Don't worry, there's no lap traffic or caution flags here. Paul Nazigan and Tim Scarborough are here to bring you the latest on Liberty Flames basketball and mid-major hoops. Now, let's get to it. Here's Nick, Naz, and Scar.
What's up, Flames Nation? Welcome back into the show this week. It's another installment of the NAZSCAR Podcast. You're part of the Liberty Flames podcast family. Nick Pierce with you, Paul Nazigan, Tim Scarborough here as well. As always, we're talking Flames and mid-major hoops. Get to some college basketball headlines a little bit later on as well. All that and much more on a jam-packed, loaded edition of the NAZSCAR Podcast. About midway through the month of February now, things really taking shape in Conference USA and around the rest of the country. And folks starting to pay a little bit more attention to the bracketology here. We might get into some of that a little bit later also. But go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to the Liberty Flames podcast, powered by Rogers Heating and Cooling. That's where you'll find NAZSCAR each week. We come your way every Tuesday with the latest episode. Hit that follow button, and you'll get our content, our shows downloaded directly to you. So hit the follow button, Apple, Spotify. You can also find us on the Liberty Flames mobile app, and then, of course, see our mugs on the Liberty Flames YouTube official page there as well. So housekeeping in order, fellas. Good to see you again. It is crossover portion of the season for me now. It's one of the crossover points. So November, you have crossover going from football to basketball. February, you have it going from basketball to baseball and softball and the spring sports. Officially hit that crossover season now. So I'm fresh off a drive back from Charleston, South Carolina. I didn't have as good a crossover as Tim Scarborough, but, I'm doing what I can. I had the drive back from Charleston, South Carolina, trying to get myself back in basketball mode now. But I got to tell you, what helped me was a stop at Buc-ee's on the way in South Carolina. It's my favorite. It's my favorite place to stop on the road. I don't know about you.
That's a must. The brisket sandwich will just heal all your ills.
No doubt.
Scar, you been to a Buc-ee's?
Oh, yeah. In Alabama, in Texas. Whenever I used to do games in North Texas, my hotel was right outside of Buc-ee's, a giant one. And I walked over there like 5 times in that little trip. So, yeah, I'm very familiar, but I'm still a Wawa guy. Naz, what do you think?
Yeah.
Wawa over Buc-ee's? Yeah.
I don't know about Wawa over Buc-ee's. Now,
Lynchburg's got a Wawa, right?
They do.
Got a Wawa. Yeah. Yep. And the closest Buc-ee's is actually in Harrisonburg. They just completed that one, so I think that's the only one in the state right now. But I'm sure there'll be more coming here pretty soon. But
yeah, definitely worth a stop.
What's your favorite? What's your go-to on the road? Is it Wawa then? What is it?
Wawa is not everywhere, but if I have a Wawa, I'll go. Buc-ee's, obviously. I like Nukes. I like Kava and Chipotle. I do all 3 of those.
Naz, how about you?
Yeah, I you know what? I try to find some local hole in the wall that, I just try to ask around and I mean, again, some you got some staples that you can count on, but I like finding some little out of the.
I'm the exact opposite. I go for chains all day.
Scar likes to know what he's getting.
McDonald's.
But seriously though, there's something to be said for knowing what's coming out in that bag.
Yeah, that's true. But the locals won't steer you wrong. They'll if you ask around, you'll find the right place. So
I've eaten in some great places in Hattiesburg and Ruston and some of these other places in
great barbecue back in the stick somewhere. Yep. Yeah,
no doubt about that.
Yeah, Ruston's got some good spots down there.
What do you do, Pierce? What's your go-to?
I'm kind of more like Scar, to be honest. Like I'm usually going to find a chain or something, but I've been admonished by my friend groups and my wife for not.
I don't bow to peer pressure, so it's never been my thing.
Couple times I've branched out, though, it has paid off. Places like Columbia, South Carolina, but for the most part, I like to go with the proven commodities. Speaking of proven commodities, how about Zach Cleveland? He's a proven commodity for the Flames.
Man, what a player.
Triple-double last week. Messed around, got the triple-double at home.
Finally did it.
Yeah.
He's been flirting this whole season. He finally did it.
And what do you do for a follow-up? Had the answer on Wednesday night last week at New Mexico State. Tie game. What was it, 1.4 seconds left? Barely any time to do anything. Flames inbounded under their own basket, and a jumper of all things. Like Zach Cleveland nails the jump shot, calls bank off the window, and wins it for the Flames at the horn over New Mexico State.
When you're the unicorn, you just whip up a little magic with your horn and get a buzzer beater. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything.
It really was.
Kind of shocking. I mean, typically it's the second shot that gets you a lot of times. And I think J.J. Harper was kind of positioned there too. But listening to Zach talk about it after the game, Flames won at 77-75 at the Horn last week in New Mexico State. That got him to, 15 straight wins at that point. That broke the school record. And listening to Zach talk about it, he said, at first I thought I was going to crash the glass. And then I saw J.J. Harper down there on the block. So then I just found the open space and just took advantage of that. What a smart, heady player.
It all happens so fast, too, in real time. And as you know, as a player, when you see those the reads that they're talking about are microsecond reads.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it is such a quick thing. You're going one way and all of a sudden you almost, if you're a good player like he is, it's almost instinctive. He's not really thinking about it. And then when you were asked in the press conference, you say, yeah, this is what went through my mind. But really, it's all read and react. And the quicker you do it, the better players are able to do it really fast. And looking at that play, I thought it was the screener play. But I think JJ was really clearing out. He kind of screened his own man, and that led to the Zach Cleveland coming into that open area. But all the shooters were going away from the ball, and of course you got to chase those guys, and that took defenders away too, and cleared out a whole bunch of room for Zach to catch, and then a little delicate smooch off the glass.
Yeah, you're right. But Scar, that just, you're right. There's those milliseconds, and you're making quick reads and reactions, but even before, I thought, Nick, you were going to talk about the how they kind of joked around how Zach changed the play in the one timeout, and then coach said, "Hey, can I draw one up this time?" And everybody got a nice kick out of that, and that's kind of really cool to kind of get a little insight into what's going on in those huddles, and it's kind of fun to hear about. But let me tell you something, that is a huge amount of trust that's going on in that huddle, and that speaks to, trusting each other, the coaches trusting these guys that have been around and been through a lot of games together, to be in a huddle and say, hey, I think this might work. Let's try this. And coach letting them do that. And, man, that's just, it was a fun story. But I'm telling you, those things where you got a game on the line and you're drawing things up, and then it's like the military, right? It's never going to go as planned. So, Zach makes a great read and pops to open space and hits it. So, I mean, that was really cool. My thing was, as I watched that thing, they're coming out and they don't put a guy on the ball. And I found that to be like, I'm kind of going, what? Like, so number one, you're not going to put a guy on the ball. Number two, you're not going to put a guy on the ball and it's Colin Porter. Like, are you crazy? Like, you're going to give Colin Porter a free look to, like, you better put two guys on the ball if it's Colin. Like, he's going to find the open guy and get it to him. It's like, I'm looking at that going, it's like, I thought about, like, it's like a plane crash, like the plane crashes and they find out that like 2 years ago, there was a fatal flaw that like, as soon as you don't put somebody on the ball there with Colin with the inbound, like, you're done. It's over. The play's going down. And he hits, like, there's nobody in front of him, right? If you think about the play, he throws a chest pass, which would have gone through it, and hits Zach right in the shooting pocket. I mean, it's like,
good point.
Bam, bam. And that was, again, there's another read. Like, again, the inbounder's making reads too. Like, you got Matheny coming off wide. You could hit him for a shot. JJ's kind of jamming in the middle there. And so Colin
JJ could have pinned his man for almost a handoff.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought he made.
Because there's no defender in front of the pass.
Yep, you're right. So, like, but Colin has to make some reads, and he makes a perfect read, sticks the pass right where it needs to be, and everybody executes, and we go home with a win. What a great execution of and trust among all those guys.
Hey, but Naz, what did we say last week? The question was, who on the remainder of this schedule could possibly get Liberty? And my answer was anybody on the schedule.
You're exactly right.
And look at New Mexico State. They're the last place team in Conference USA. If the tournament started today, they would not be in it. That's and probably won't be in it, right? Them in Delaware, maybe FIU, Liberty's got them coming
I think
up.
that's actually a good thing for Liberty, because New Mexico State and Liberty have gone down to the final shot in the game twice.
Both times.
Yep.
Right. And Delaware gave Liberty all they wanted up in Delaware. So anybody in this league, I'm still convinced, can beat Liberty. But so far, nobody has. And, you start thinking about, as you get to Huntsville, no matter who you draw, Liberty's going to have to play well to win this tournament. They are not going to – the margins are not that wide as what the record would indicate. I mean, they're going to win this league going away. 5 games, 6 games, who knows, right? But that doesn't mean they're that much better than everybody. I just don't think they are. We watch these games. Everybody has a chance to win the game against Liberty, but they don't. Liberty's a closer. I mean, they are Mariano Rivera of basketball right now. They get to that 9th inning, the game is tied, or they got the lead. It's lights out. You think about the New Mexico State game. Liberty was 5 of its last 7 from the field at the end of that game. They execute down the stretch at both ends. Big stop on the possession before the game winner, if you remember. J.J. Harper did a really good job. Colin Porter did a great job. And then that led to Colin actually had a run out almost and got hammered, I thought, before the inbounds. They didn't call the foul, but they rewarded Liberty the ball. Yeah. And that set up the game winner. But, anybody, I still submit. Anybody in this league can beat Liberty on a given night. Yeah,
you're right. And I'm kind of with you, Nick. Like, I just think there's some, like a lot of tournaments are, it's going to be matchups, and you're kind of, like you're saying, anybody can win. So you're hoping you get a good matchup. I just think New Mexico State, that tough kind of physical way that they play, and they do a really good job defending the 3 against us. So, I kind of hope we don't have to run into them again. Yeah.
Something I'll piggyback off of what you were talking about earlier with Colin Porter. It is really kind of inexplicable that no one was guarding him, because not even just what you were talking about, that's true, but how many times do you see somebody inbound the ball, come in, park themselves at a spot on the court, the pass goes right back to the inbounder, and then they're wide open for. But think about Robert Horry in the NBA Finals all those years ago when he walked off Game 5, I think, for the
for the Lakers,
Spurs against the Pistons.
Spurs, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a shot I'll never forget. I mean, that's probably one of the more textbook ones of, like, how could you leave him open? Yeah.
So here's the thought process. If it's only 1.4 seconds that the inbounder is the most dangerous, kind of goes out the window.
True.
Because the clock's going to start unless you just tap it to them and they tap it in. Highly unlikely with the 5'9" Porter. So what they were thinking was, let's chase some of these shooters with that extra defender. So if somebody gets hung up on the screen, at least that extra defender can make up for it. That's what they were worried about more than anything. They were worried about the shooters, wherever they would go, getting through screens. No one had, but we know from coaching and playing, Naz, is the screener is the guy that's always open. If you remember, Cleveland set a screen for Matheny to go the other way, and then he popped open.
You're exactly right, Scar. And what happened is, I think they had a split second of miscommunication as to whether Vershesh and I don't know who the guy in the paint was, maybe Mims. For a split second, they look at like they're going to switch, and when Zach set that screen, and Vershesh kind of gets caught in no man's land, and Zach flashes. And Vershesh is late getting there, and it's over.
Millisecond decisions, like we talked about. That's on defense too, and that's why communication is so important. Yep. And remember, a few shows back, I was talking about Kermit Davis and that Middle Tennessee team that won all those games, and they got beat late in the season, and they were ranked 25th in the nation, and ended up not making the NCAA tournament because they got beat in the first round of the CUSA. I'm not drawing a parallel with Liberty, don't get me wrong. But that one of the things that Kermit always said is, my team doesn't talk. You have to talk. And you have to not just talk, because a lot of teams just go through the motions because they don't want to run in practice. And they, hey, I got blah, blah, blah. And it's nonsense, right?
It's got to be purposeful talking. Yeah.
Purposeful talking, purposeful communication. I see you, I hear you. And sometimes it can be nonverbal. And that comes from playing together. You give the guy a look, like, all right, you're switching, or I'm staying, all right, whatever, right? And those things. And in those moments, that's when it really bears itself, right? And so that was an example of poor communication costing you a ball game.
So the Flames win that one 77-75. They break the school record. They get to their 15th straight win. And then, you go back to your point, Scar, anybody can beat this Liberty team. They just haven't yet. UTEP thought it was going to be their day on Saturday, an afternoon game at the Don Haskins Center on ESPN2. They've got the national audience's attention, and UTEP's got a 10-point lead late in the first half. They're up 25-15, and all of a sudden the Flames put their foot on the gas pedal, and a 13-0 run later, and that 10-point lead had evaporated. And the Flames go on and win that game 73-64. Liberty, with that 13-0 run, took a 2-point lead at halftime. Leading scorers in that one, J.J. Harper with 18. We're going to talk more about him later on as well. We should. Brett Decker Jr. finishes with 17 in that game. Flames didn't shoot it that well from three, just 9 of 27. But, 32 points in the paint. And they did what they had to do. 45 points in the second half. Just an incredibly efficient performance there after waking up with about 4 minutes and change to go in the first half.
And Brett Decker being 3 for 9, that's a bad shooting day for him. That's a great day for everybody else. That's 33%. But again, the guy is still shooting 50% from the 3-point line on the season. What a remarkable shooter. And a lot of them, when he shoots it, man, he's like, oh, catch that. Just, you don't have to watch it. That ball's going in. But yeah, I mean, that run was, we've seen Liberty do those runs almost every game. But normally they're not trailing by 10. It's tied. It's a slugfest. Boom! Liberty hits the 15-0 run, and then that team chips away. And Liberty will still win comfortably, but only by 5 or 6. But on Saturday, UTEP was playing as well as they could possibly play, and they had no answers for Liberty when they turned on that Liberty heat.
Yeah, going into that one, I was a little concerned because, like UTEP, we talked about somebody's like it's going to kind of come together for somebody that's in that middle of the pack, and I kind of thought it might be UTEP because they, they had so many games on the road to open conference, and then they were getting back in, and they won a few and played better, and I was like, this could sort of be their capstone moment when it really all comes together, and they played very well, almost. Again, jumping on Liberty down, had us down 10, but great response. But I think about that going down the stretch, it was still close. And that one, almost, I think it was like the second to last or right toward the end there, they're running down. We need a basket. long possession, nothing's developing, and Porter hits a little 10-footer on the baseline. We need a bet. I think I made it to a 2-possession game. It was huge. And it's just like we mentioned a couple games ago, he got the steal to kind of seal it. Maybe was that up at Delaware, maybe. And him and again, we're going to talk more about JJ and certainly Zach. Matheny's hit big shots. Every game, there's somebody that's stepping up. And I went down and looked just at the scoring probably gets too much attention, but I just went down the top scorers. And out of this whole season, there's only 3 times where the same scorer repeats the next game as the leading scorer. And a couple of them were shared leading scorers. So it's like every, different night, different guy. And that we don't say that I mean, that's proven. And aside from scoring, it's a big play here, a steal, a block shot, executing something critical, that last stop. I mean, they kept one of the best scorers in the conference in the New Mexico State game, Jamel Jones. He's got the ball. They get a basket, it could be over. And
he was balling too. Jamel.
Yeah, he was right. He gets to the paint, and we get the stop. So it's like this team. It's the wins are incredible, the win streak, but it's happening because these guys are willing and to sacrifice at times or step up and make big plays when they're needed.
Zach Cleveland averages a double-double last week in 2 games, 14 points and 10 rebounds for the Unicorn as the Flames win 2 on the road down in the desert, winning in New Mexico State and then winning at UTEP again 73-64, the final from this past Saturday. That was also cool because they did it again on national television on ESPN2. They had a large audience for that game mid-afternoon on a Saturday, and so the Flames now 22-3 on the season. Liberty perfect in Conference USA at 14-0, winners of 16 straight. That is the 3rd longest win streak in America right now. Behind Miami of Ohio, 25 straight, and the St. Louis Billikens have won 18 in a row. And coincidentally, those are the only 3 teams remaining in the country that are unbeaten in conference play. Some other numbers I'll throw at you real quick. The net ranking, Liberty checking in at 74 coming into this week. And in the KenPom at 89. Both of those are tops in Conference USA. The Flames are the only top 100 team in Conference USA right now. Sam Houston not too far out of that, though. And for those of you that observe, because I'll actually acknowledge, I think it was Ellie McKay had this tweet earlier this week. She said, can we just get to the postseason already or something along those lines? And so we're all kind of, it's almost like a road trip, right? We're all kind of like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? We all want to
quit asking.
Exactly. Not because we're not appreciative or not enjoying what's going on, but I think we're all just excited to see what can this team do in the postseason, and conference tournament will be here in a few weeks. Got 6 games left in the regular season. Joe Lunardi at last check has Liberty as a 12 seed, assuming a Conference USA tournament win. And that's going to get you an opponent along the lines of a Virginia, a North Carolina, a St. John's, someone along of that ilk, a BYU. I don't know about you guys. I think those are all winnable games, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I can see the Flames competing very well in a matchup like that.
Same. And, we've learned some things from Liberty needs to stay away from Oregon in postseason, period, whether it's softball or football or basketball.
Facts.
But also we've learned that, that North Carolina State game where Liberty just played poorly and got smacked, similar to the Oregon tournament game last year. I think Richie McKay has learned lessons from those moments. And they vow not to let that happen again. Again, I don't care if they're playing Kentucky in Rupp Arena. They don't feel like anybody should be able to manhandle them like that. This particular group I'm talking about. And, I like Liberty's odds against almost any of the schools you mentioned. I think, obviously, North Carolina with their size would be tough. I think Virginia is a very winnable game. A BYU still a mid-major. I mean, they have A.J. DeBonsta And, they have some of those bigs that transferred in from Vegas and Gonzaga. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Liberty on a given night, the way they shoot, the way they share the ball, I think it's certainly fun to think about and talk about. But there's another scenario that could also be a successful season, and you guys aren't going to like this. But if Liberty were to lose in Huntsville, a NIT bid wouldn't be the worst thing, because I think Conference USA teams traditionally have gone to New York or wherever they're having it now. I think they're having it at Butler, the Final Four, for the NITs. And those teams get to play on a national scale. And I think about championship level teams that eventually do something in the NCAA tournament. Sometimes it's the year before in the NITs or one of these other smaller tournaments. Think about Shaka Smart's VCU. In 2010, they got to the one of those piddly, I forget, the CBI or the CIT.
Yeah.
They won it. They played against St. Louis, and they built off of that. In the following year, they're in the Final Four. So, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we'll be all crushed. Don't get me wrong, if Liberty doesn't play in the NCAA tournament. But to me, I think at-large bids should be on the table. We know it's not, because the net is a 73. It's not going to happen. But you can't tell me Liberty and St. Louis and Miami aren't some of the better teams in this country that deserve a chance. But the way they do these metrics, it's skewed towards the big conferences. And I'm on the soapbox every year, every radio show, every podcast. It's just not a fair system.
Yep. And, it's a good consolation. That's the way to look at it if it does come down to that. Obviously, right now, Liberty's still unbeaten in Conference USA. They've got 6 games left, and that brings us to this week. Flames with 2 more at home. Liberty's got FIU on a Thursday night at 6 o'clock. That game will be on CBS Sports Network. And then Saturday at 4 o'clock, Liberty and Western Kentucky. And this is round 2 with both of these teams. The Flames beat FIU in overtime in Miami to open conference play at the end of December. I feel like both of those teams are very different from that point. And then Liberty with the win at Western Kentucky just a few weeks ago. That game started out heavily in favor of the Flames. I think it was 15-2 Liberty to start the game. Had to weather the storm. Western Kentucky came back, actually took the lead in the first half at one point, but ended up taking care of business there, 76-69 back on.
And you're going to get a desperate FIU, because they're trying to make the conference tournament right now. If it started today, they would be in by in terms of the tiebreaker with Delaware. Them and Delaware have the same record, so FIU is in desperate need of a win. So you're going to get, and they already played Liberty toe to toe. So
you're exactly right. I mean, they're good. They you look at them. It seems like this every year with them. But if you go back and look at their losses and their margin of loss, like they are right there in every game and
competitive.
They're very competitive. And now they got good guard play. Corey Stevenson on the wing is phenomenal. And they got some size. They got Dabami inside, who is really making a name for himself, 2-time conference freshman of the week. So they got interior wing, good Zaudy Jackson, their guard, who's the transfer from Mexico State a year ago. Like, they've got a nice, well-rounded squad they put together, and they go to the glass, which is, I'm very concerned with that aspect of the game Thursday night. So got to rebound, got to box out.
And you look at 77-64, their most recent game. They won against Louisiana Tech. That was back this past Saturday.
Yeah.
And then a loss to Delaware by 2 at home, 68-66. You mentioned Dabami. He had 15 points in that game to lead the way. So now they've lost 2 of 3. They've lost 3 out of their last 5 here. So, but they're in most every game. I mean, a 4-point loss to Jacksonville State, a 10-point loss at Western Kentucky, overtime win over Middle. I mean, it's going to be a gritty bunch coming, but you're hoping now Liberty Arena will show up Thursday night. Students are there. and hopefully Flames Nation can create an atmosphere. I can tell you this, that game is very close to being a sellout. So if you don't have your tickets as of right now, you might want to do so. It's college for a weekend. You're going to have a lot of youth in the building coming up here this week. That can lead to exuberance and excitement. Saturday, I think, is already sold out or close to it against Western Kentucky. So you should have an atmosphere. Hopefully the Flames are able to take advantage of that coming up here this week, guys.
Yeah, one thing about Saturday is that it'll be interesting to see is if you guys remember at Western, we hit 17 threes. So that was that game. And so it'll be very interesting to see what they do when they come in here defensively. Like you would have to think, well, we're not going to give up 17 threes again, especially at home. So that's what you're going to see from other people now. Like if they lost the first time, some of these games the second time around, they're going to change because they're going to try something new, knowing that let's just try it because all we got to do is get to Huntsville and have another chance. And so you try your different strategies now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Again, you're going to get another team in Western that's very capable. They're a little up and down, but certainly could come in and win. A team that's really again hungry and looking to stay in that top half of the conference.
So strategically, though, Naz, do you think Liberty will see more zone? I thought Delaware did a great job. You know, people think if you play zone, you're going to give up threes. But the thing, and you give up some, but usually they're contested threes if you're an active zone with some length on the perimeter.
Morphing zone, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought Delaware did a great job.
I think you may, because people at this point, like, you see what happens if you try to play straight, like try something different. I would play some possessions of zone, 1-3-1 trap. Like if it's in your repertoire, give it a shot because you're going to need it at some point down the line.
I was going to say Tegan Moore is back for them as well. Remember, he missed some games with concussion.
Yeah,
19 against Liberty the first time he came back. His first game back this past Saturday dropped 28.
Yeah, he's tough.
Middle Tennessee had 3 threes
in
that
game
as well. Yeah. Yep. So you're going to have to deal with their best player. Flames would have it no other way, though. You want to get the other team's best. They will get it here this week. And something else, too, to keep in mind, if Liberty – well, first of all, watch Sam Houston on Wednesday night. You got a full slate of games on Wednesday here this week in the conference. If Sam Houston loses on Wednesday night, then that means Liberty could clinch the outright regular season championship with a win on Thursday night. Sam Houston's at home on Wednesday against Middle Tennessee. If the Bearcats drop that game, then the Flames would win the outright regular season championship, which feels really early to be talking about that, but that's the reality of it. The Flames have a 5-game lead over Sam Houston with 6 games to go. At minimum, Liberty with a win on Thursday night, regardless of what Sam Houston does, would clinch a share of the regular season title. So, if you're talking about postseason, you're kind of looking forward to things. Those are a couple things to keep an eye on here this week. And that would be the 8th, by the way. Right? No, we said 9th. We spent like 20 minutes looking this up before the podcast. That would be the 9th regular season conference championship for the Liberty Flames. And of course,
so you're trying to take that 96-97 one away from the one that me and Naz were coaches for. We need to count that one too. That was the very first one that we shared with UNC Asheville.
That's right. Yep. Don't forget that one.
Yep. 1997 regular season title in 2004 in the Big South, and then just dominated the A-Sun after that. 5 straight regular season championships there. And then won the, of course, conference regular season title last year in CUSA. So trying to win the 9th consecutive, or not consecutive, I've given too much credit. Trying to win the 9th overall conference regular season championship. So another banner going up in the arena here this year. We'll see what it says at year's end. That's the exciting part that we're all waiting on. Well, before we get out of here this week, we've got a couple of other orders of business left here, and let's get to this week's Scar Watch.
He's looking at you, kid.
I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Here's this week's Scar Watch.
All right, so this week's Scar Watch is a good one. It's a unsung hero in my mind. But got to give some credit to John Manson from the Sea of Red. He mentioned this the other day. But J.J. Harper's having just an incredible season. he had a great week last week. I mean, you look at his numbers. He was 18 points on 8 of 11 shooting, and against UTEP, he was 19 points on 7 of 11 shooting versus New Mexico State. So he's a guy that is playing well, but that was just not a one-off. This is what he's been doing all season long. I mean, he's shooting 60% from the field on the season. He's shooting 40% from 3. Now, he's only taken 50, but he's at 20 of them. He's averaging 11 points a game. He's averaging 3 rebounds a game. He's only got 11 turnovers on the season. So he is as steady as they come with the basketball in his hands. He's got 22 blocked shots at 6'5". And by the way, he's guarding 6'9", 6'10", 7-footers on a given night because he's guarding the 5-man. And then on other occasions throughout the game, he's guarding the best perimeter. So he's being asked to do a lot of the dirty work. But in addition to that, people forget about him on the offensive end. He slips to the basket. He gets a lot of easy layups. He gets key rebounds. Just a tremendous competitor. And, you know, we talked about Moffmer last year, Javon Moffmer coming in, and he's kind of played that role, but he's even more efficient at the offensive end. So this week's Scar Watch, certainly deservedly so, goes to J.J. Harper.
Yeah, great choice, Scar. You certainly need to recognize him again in everybody doing their part. But it's what's just amazing is to watch him blossom, like you've said. Like he came in and he was going to be the defensive guy, and he embraces that and loves it and is very good at it. And that defense is just effort and toughness and grit, and he exudes all that. But just to watch him then kind of grow as an offensive player. And yeah, it started with, some cuts and dunks. And now, I mean, he's a guy that he gets it on the perimeter, late possession. Man, how many big threes has he just drained? Mm-hmm. And it's great. So I'm going to say this, though, like, we mentioned his toughness, and he's out there, he's got the sneer going, and he's but when Zach Cleveland hit the buzzer beater, to see him jump around like a little kid that got 2 ice creams, I mean, it did my heart go like you're in the heat of battle. And that tough exterior broke. I hope I don't ruin his image, but man, he was just jumping around, and just the joy of that was just infectious, and it was awesome to see, and everybody enjoyed it. But I enjoyed watching him. But yeah, it's great to give him the credit he deserves.
Yeah, How many more times can Richie McKay hit on one of these Division II transfers?
Great point, Nick.
It's almost like it's a year after year thing, I mean, J.J. Harper coming up from West Liberty and Concord before that. Talon Peters playing in the NBA now. Keenan Gums, if you want to go back a little further than that. I mean, it's Coach McKay just knows where to go find them, I guess.
They do their homework, and it's in every facet of the player and the person. And it's amazing. They do the work and find the guys, and man, the fit, they make it look easy, but it's incredible.
Liberty is by far the most niche recruiting at any level I've ever seen. I remember one year, this had to be 7 or 8 years ago, I asked Richie McKay, was probably at a banquet for Julius Nwosu or Hildebrand, one of those guys were going into the Hall of Fame. And I asked him, how many people are you recruiting? Remember, Naz, we used to do numbers, right? And then you have this number, then you had a large number. You cast a wide net, and then you start dwindling it down. But it's hundreds of people. Then you get it down to 10 guys or 4 guys. They start off with like 3 guys that they're targeting, or 4 or 5 guys that they're targeting, period. The whole staff, not just one coach. So they land who they go after, but they also go after very, very specific individuals. So it's a unique way of doing things. It works for them. I don't think that would work for everybody, because you apply for 2 jobs, you don't get them, you're going to be unemployed. Right? So you apply for 30 jobs and hope you get a couple of, interviews and you get a job. But recruiting is way different for Liberty than it is at any other place.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one. Good Scar Watch. Good show, fellas, as always. And looking forward to this week. Liberty and FIU, 6 o'clock on Thursday night at Liberty Arena in Lynchburg. Liberty in Western Kentucky, 4 o'clock at the arena. A couple home games coming up here for the Flames this week, and a chance to clinch the regular season championship in Conference USA. So we'll have our next show for you coming up next week. We'll recap those ball games for you. As always, you can find us on social media as well. Love to chop it up with you, take your questions, your comments, all here on the NAZSCAR Podcast, part of the Liberty Flames podcast family, presented by Rogers Heating and Cooling. Servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Schedule your service at callrogers.com. For Naz, for Scar, I'm Nick Pierce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoy the basketball this week, everybody.